Your bank is a strainer, and your government is the bucket catching the spills. For decades, we have been conditioned to believe that centralized institutions are the only viable guardians of our prosperity. In reality, these international bankers operate within a new world order that prioritizes the consolidation of power over the preservation of your capital. The current system is not broken. It is functioning exactly as intended, to siphon wealth away from the many and into the hands of a few who have no genuine concern for your financial well-being. This is not just about money. It is about the new world order using your resources to exert control. To reclaim our sovereignty, we must stop playing by their rules and build our own parallel system that keeps wealth where it belongs, in our communities.
I think we should all create our own bank. I think we need to create our own bank. First, to set up a community trust structure, and then you appoint everybody as a managing director of a trust. You set up a trust account for everybody. Everybody pools all this together. You buy gold and silver with it. You invest it, and you pay dividends back to everybody in the community. That's how we could run an economic system and completely bypass the federal government and the international bankers. Every community could do that. Every church could do that. Every organization could do that. Every family could do that. And watch the wealth start shifting back into your hands again instead of into the hands of those who really don't care about your wealth. The New World Order has no concern for your money, really. They just want power and control.
The process begins by establishing a trust structure where every participant is appointed as a managing director of their own respective trust. This creates a network of individual trusts that operate under a larger community umbrella. In a traditional bank, you are an unsecured creditor. When you deposit money, the bank owns the asset and merely owes you a debt. In a community trust model, you transition from a debt slave to a beneficiary and director. This structural pivot ensures that the legal and emotional ownership of wealth remains local. By utilizing a trust as the bedrock, the community creates a defensive perimeter that prevents wealth from being exported to external stakeholders who view your life's work as a mere entry on a ledger. Traditional finance relies on a top-heavy hierarchy that is easily captured by elite interests. Our blueprint solves this by flattening the pyramid through inclusivity. By appointing every member as a managing director, the community prevents the emergence of a centralized authority that could be corrupted or coerced. This level of collective leadership ensures that oversight is distributed. When everyone is a director, the us versus them dynamic of the corporate world evaporates, replaced by a shared fiduciary responsibility to the collective survival and growth. Once the individual roles are established, trust accounts are set up for everyone involved. The community then pools their resources together within these accounts. This collective capital is then used to buy gold and silver rather than holding fiat currency. However, unlike the digital-first economy that lives and dies by the printing press of central banks, this community bank rejects fiat-based volatility. The strategy is singular and uncompromising. The community uses its pooled resources to purchase gold and silver. In an era of rampant inflation and debt-based instruments, choosing hard assets is a strategic act of defiance. By backing community wealth with precious metals, you move outside the reach of the federal government's devalued currency. This is a move toward intrinsic value, ensuring that the community's purchasing power is protected by tangible assets rather than the empty promises of international bankers. The pooled assets are invested by the community. The goal of this economic system is to pay dividends back to every member of the community. This shifts wealth away from international bankers and the federal government and back into the hands of the people. This model is designed to produce a self-sustaining loop of prosperity. The gold and silver backing the trust serve as the foundation for an economic system that generates real returns, which are then distributed back to the participants. In this system, the profit traditionally kept by a bank is instead paid out as dividends to everyone in the community. It is a closed-loop economy where wealth is no longer a tool for external control, but a vehicle for internal empowerment. By bypassing the federal and international gatekeepers, the community ensures that the fruits of its labor are never harvested by those who seek power over people. While the community trust is the goal, these specific types of private entities can be used to maintain autonomy from public government control. Unincorporated associations are private businesses that are not incorporated with the Secretary of State and generally do not have reporting obligations to the IRS. 508(c)(1)(a). Ministry trusts are faith-based, unincorporated associations that are considered tax-exempt under federal law. Non-grantor irrevocable trusts are structures that are often recommended because they separate the assets from the person who contributed them, providing lawsuit protection and tax avoidance. For any trust within the community structure to function, these specific administrative roles are needed. A settler is the person who creates the trust and transfers assets into it. A trustee is the individual or entity responsible for managing the assets in the best interest of the beneficiaries. A trust protector or guardian is an entity appointed to oversee the trustee and ensure they follow the trust's provisions. A beneficiary is the person or entity entitled to receive the benefits or distributions. Before or during the setup of these private structures, individuals should undergo political status correction. This involves declaring yourself as an American national rather than a U.S. citizen to operate within the private sector or common law jurisdiction. It's the part of the economy the government does not control. The goal of this strategy is clear. It is to watch the wealth start shifting back into your hands again. We have spent a century feeding a system that views us as subjects to be managed rather than sovereigns to be served. The New World Order has made its intentions known. They do not care about your money. They care about the power that controlling your money provides. It is time to ask the provocative question, who do you trust to safeguard your future? The international bankers who thrive on your dependency, or the community that thrives on your success? The blueprint for autonomy is here. The shift starts when you decide to stop being a customer and start being a director.